UEFA Europa League playoff round first leg is coming up this Thursday. Might not be as glamorous as the big brother, which is the Champions League, but 8 more games, 4 of which at home, should be a strong incentive for all these teams to make the final push and book their ticket into the league phase. The preview and my predictions here on A Ball and a Goal. What's up everybody, my name is Cornel, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we'll talk Europa League playoff round first leg, and I'm gonna jump straight into it because there's 12 games and lots of things to talk about. I'm gonna start with Crete against CSKA Sofia. The team from Greece, it's the winner of the Greek Cup from last season. Obviously the league in the Greece hasn't started yet. They did play one official game so far this season. It was the Super Cup, which they won 2-2 after 90 minutes against AEK Athens, and they won after that 5-4 on penalties. They had a terrible preseason, lost pretty much all their friendly games. It was for the first time in the history, by the way, in which they won the Cup and the Super Cup as well. On the other side, the visitors from Bulgaria, they started early in the summer. From the first qualifying round, they eliminated Derry City. The second qualifying round, they had a very close tie against Karabakh. Remember them from last season Champions League. They advanced on penalties. Was 0-0 on aggregate. Both games finished 0-0, and then in the third qualifying round they beat Maccabi Tel Aviv 3-0. They won away from home, and they lost at home 3-1. They are second in the league, doing pretty good. 4 wins out of 5 games, 1 draw, 13 points. They won their last game over the weekend 5-0 at home. They do have a very good striker, Dutch player Joel Zwarts, big, strong, very good with the headers. 11 games, 5 goals so far in this season for him. But the one that I really like is Stefano Sensi, an Italian, 31 years old, tidy, very technical player, the kind of player that can produce a moment of magic. So I'm gonna go for a win for the away team here, 2-1 for CSKA Sofia. Moving on, Benfica against Aarhus. Marco Silva started pretty good his tenure at the club from Lisbon. Except for the draw in the league against the newly promoted Academico, which was a game played with empty stands, without spectators. They did pretty much very good in all the games they played so far this season. Obviously, the first one in the second qualifying round of Europa League, where they started, they lost at St. Gallen, but you could have seen in the game that they just started. They were a little bit leggy. After that, it was just a cruise. At home, they trash Hearts in the third qualifying round of Europa League. 1 win at the weekend in the league, 7-0 away at Casapia, a team that was in a relegation playoff last season. Pavlidis looks in great form. I think he already has one game in which he scored 4 goals, another one over the weekend which he has a hat-trick. 5 matches, 9 goals for the Greek striker. Longley came in the center of the defense to replace Antonio Silva, who left for Bournemouth. They did concede in that game against Academico 2 goals, very easy, 2 crosses into the box, very poor marking. Prestiani looks good as well, couple of goals for him. And of course John Duran, coming back from the Saudi League to help the attack for the Portuguese team. So they look really, really good. I think it's going to be an entertaining season in Liga Portugal and fighting for the title between them and FC Porto. On the other side, the Danish champions, they started obviously in the Champions League second qualifying round. There was that amazing tie against the Polish champions Lech Poznan, which they lost at home 4-1. They went in Poland and they won 4-1 over there, and then the penalty shootout. Then they were eliminated in the third qualifying round of the Champions League by Sabah Baku, and they ended up obviously in the playoff round of the Europa League. A pretty poor season so far for them, except for that game in Poznan. Pretty much they were poor in all the games, especially in the last one that they play in the Champions League away at Baku. They were really poor, and they were just torn apart by the team from Azerbaijan. 3 games played in the Danish Superliga so far. They did have 1 game postponed due to the European competitions. 2 draws and 1 loss. No wins yet for them. Like I said, the only game that they really shine was the one in Poland, which you can say that probably was up to Lech Poznan that made Aarhus look very good. So I'm gonna go for a big win for the home side here, 4-0 for Benfica. Next up in Istanbul, Beşiktaş against Kaunos Žalgiris. The only team from the big favorites in Turkey Superliga over the weekend that actually won was Beşiktaş. Galatasaray tied, Fenerbahce lost, Trabzonspor tied as well. Vincenzo Italiano, you can see already that he is a really good coach, especially in the cup competitions. Remember, he won Coppa Italia with Bologna. He got Fiorentina twice into the UEFA Conference League final a couple of years ago. I think he's going to do a tremendous job here. I won't be surprised if they were able to win the title this season. They started in the second qualifying round of the Europa League. They eliminated Midtjylland, a very good team actually from Denmark. Then in the third qualifying round, they beat Hradec Králové from Czech Republic. And like I said, over the weekend, in the first game of the Turkish Super League, they beat Eyüpspor 1-0. A great goal by Václav Černý actually. And the interesting thing, they hadn't conceded yet a goal in their season so far. Played 5 games, 4 in Europe, 1 in the league. Of course, Leonardo Trossard, a new signing. They managed to sign Nubel, the goalkeeper from Bayern München. Also, they got Orgun Koku from Benfica. Agbadou, remember him from the Premier League. He was a February signing from Wolves. And obviously, Dusan Vlahovic, he was in the stands over the weekend watching his new team winning. I think this is pretty much one-sided game, same like the one before between Benfica and Aarhus. Kaunos Žalgiris, pretty much they did their job. They started in the first qualifying round of the Champions League, eliminating Drita, the champions from Kosovo. And then they celebrated like they won the Champions League when they eliminated Klaksvik, the team from Faroe Island, in the second qualifying round, which meant for them that they have guaranteed European football this season. And then obviously they got trashed by Dinamo Zagreb in the third qualifying round of the Champions League. Now in the playoffs of the Europa League, obviously if they lose this one, they will end up in the Conference League no matter what. They are second in Topi Liga in Lithuania, 1 point behind the leader Sūduva. But like I said, I think for them the mission was accomplished already when they won that second qualifying round. On the other side, you got a very good team that looks really good, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for the home side. Moving on to Poland, the game between Lech Poznan and Thun. Both of them champions. They started in the Champions League. Lech Poznan, obviously, big disappointment, eliminated by Aarhus after they won their first game 4-1 away from home. Lost at home 4-1. Ended up losing on penalties. And then they eliminated Klaksvik, the team from Faroe Island, winning 5-0 away from home. 3 games so far playing in Ekstraklasa. I think as well they had a game postponed due to their European competitions. 2 wins and 1 draw. Patrick Wallmark, in my opinion, looks really, really good. Real number 10, really skillful, technical player. I'm a big fan of Ishak, the striker, big, strong, very good in link-up play as well. Luis De Palma, former Glasgow Rangers player, pulling the strings in the midfield. They do miss Golizadeh, the Iranian players who got a serious injury at the end of last season, missed the World Cup as well. On the other side, Thun, pretty much a season that started good, I'll say. 1-1 at home against Dinamo Zagreb in the second qualifying round of the Champions League, then went to Zagreb being 2-0 up. Then everything changed, got a red card. Dinamo Zagreb managed to equalize, send the game to extra time, in which they lost 3-2. In Swiss League, they started with a win, and after that, they got beaten really bad at home by Young Boys Bern 6-0. They lost again the third game in the league against Basel 4-2. They won over the weekend in the Swiss Cup, but I wouldn't put too much emphasis on that, which, they played a team from the lower leagues. I really like the right back. I think he's going to get pretty soon a big move, Fabio Fer. And the striker from Martinique, Brighton Lebeau, with 5 goals in 7 games so far this season. Both teams, I think, likely to score. Both teams playing attacking football, being on the front foot. And I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw between Lech Poznan and FC Thun. Moving on to Kazakhstan, the game between Kairat Almaty and Anderlecht, and I'm going to say from the beginning, I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw here. Kairat Almaty started in the first qualifying round of the Champions League. They beat the champions from, might have been Macedonia, I think, North Macedonia, Suzhezka. Then they eliminated the champions from Cyprus, Omonia Nicosia, on penalties, losing the first game 1-0 in Cyprus and then winning 1-0 at home. And then they were eliminated by Levski Sofia in the third qualifying round of the Champions League. They have a problem scoring goals, Kairat Almaty, for sure. Doesn't matter if they are home or away. They do create some chances, but they just can't score a goal. If you exclude that first tie in the Champions League from the first qualifying round, they actually score 1 goal in the other 4 games that they've played in Europe so far this season. On the other side, Anderlecht, they started in the second qualifying round of the Europa League when they eliminated Hammarby, team from Sweden, 1-1 away from home, and I think it was 3-1 at home. And then the biggest surprise for me, they eliminated Salonik in the third qualifying round of the Europa League. In the league so far, 2 games played. They won the first one 2-1 in the last minute at home against La Louvière, and then they lost over the weekend a newly promoted Beveren 1-0. Mihalo Vektovic, the 19-year-old Serbian, looks in pretty good form, as well the Ukrainian Sikan. But for me personally, I think this game screams 0-0, at least in the first leg in Kazakhstan. Mjällby against Salzburg, the Swedish champions, pretty bad form in the league so far this season. In Allsvenskan, they did manage over the weekend, by the way, to end the unbeaten run of the leader Sirius. It was a crazy game. Some big defensive mistakes that were made in this game, atrocious to be honest, on both sides. They did started in the second qualifying round of the Champions League, where they managed to eliminate the champions of Gibraltar, a league called Red Imps, and then they were eliminated pretty easily by Slovan Bratislava in the third qualifying round of the Champions League. Like I said, over the weekend they won against the leader Sirius, which haven't lost so far up until this moment in the league. They were 3-0 down at the break, and the game ended up 4-3. Like I said, some big defensive mistakes on both sides in that game. On the other side, Salzburg, 2 wins, 1 draw so far in Austria Bundesliga. They restarted in the third qualifying round of the Europa League. It was an amazing tie against Pafos. And Haris Tabakovic, who they signed this summer from Hoffenheim, scored all 4 goals in this tie. 1-0 they won at home, and then they tied 3-3 away in Cyprus. Like I said, Haris Tabakovic, the 32-year-old Bosnian, signed from Hoffenheim. He was on loan last season in Bundesliga at Gladbach, scoring 13 goals in 32 games. Probably one of the reasons why Gladbach managed to save themselves from relegation. I'm gonna go for a 2-0 win for the away team here. Moving on, Jagiellonia Bialystok against Iberia 1999. Jagiellonia, like I said in one of my previous videos about the Polish league, I'm really disappointed with the fact that they couldn't extend the contract for Rami Fikopouloulou, their striker from last season. A really good player. He moved to Saudi League. But the big man now for them is Nik Prelec, the Slovenian striker, who came from Oxford United from England, with 3 goals so far this season. And of course, Jesus Himaz, the 35-year-old Spaniard, his 9th season in Extraclasa. In the previous 8, 7 of them he managed to finish in double-digit goals. 2 wins and 1 loss in Extraclasa so far as well. They have some postponements due to their European clashes. They do struggle to score goals, but they managed to eliminate Glasgow Rangers. Obviously, they started in the third qualifying round of the Europa League. They won at home 2-1, and they got a 1-1 away draw in Glasgow. On the other side, Iberia, the champions from Georgia, they started in the first qualifying round of the Champions League, eliminated Flora Tallinn from Estonia. Then they were eliminated in the second qualifying round of the Champions League by Slovan Bratislava, and then they eliminated Larn in the third qualifying round of the Europa League, getting to extra time actually in that game. They are third in their league, which is played from spring to fall. 4 points, and 1 game in hand behind the leaders, Rustavi. I just think there's some experience in this Polish team. They did manage to get, I think, to the quarters in the last 2 years of the Conference League, and now they are very, very close to make it into the Europa League phase. So I'm gonna go for a 1-0 win for the home side. Egnatia against Lillestrøm. If you had me a couple of months ago, I would have definitely say the team from Norway will win this tie, but they're going through a tough time. Now Lillestrøm was newly promoted to the Eliteserien, which is the first league in Norway. They won the cup last December, and that's why they are in the Europa League. Now they are playing their first qualifying round. Basically, they were straight into the playoff round. They had a very good start of the season, which obviously started back in March. In the first 9 games, they got 6 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses. Never since. In the next 8 games, 5 losses, 2 wins, and 1 draw. So they're pretty much going to a bad patch of form. They did have some difficult games lately. They played Bodo Glimt, Rosenborg, and Tromsø one after another. The last game in the league, 1-1 away at KFUM Oslo. They are 15 points, fifth in the league, 15 points behind the leader Bodo Glimt. Like I said, a good start, but lately not too good for them. Ignatia, the champions from Albania from last season, the Albanian league hasn't started yet. They did started early in the summer in the first qualifying round of the Champions League. They eliminated Petroklub, that's the champions of Moldavia. Then they were eliminated in the second qualifying round of the Champions League by Celje, the Slovenian champions. The game went on penalties. And then they eliminated Shamrock Rovers in the third qualifying round of the Europa League. The interesting thing about them is that they scored at least 3 goals in all the 3 games that they've played in Europe so far at home this season. And one name to look for, Fernando Medeiros, a Brazilian guy. Out of the 14 goals they scored at home in Europe, he was involved in 7 of them with 6 assists and 1 goal. Like I said, just based on the recent form, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for the home side. Now moving on, Crvena Zvezda against Victoria Plzen. Very disappointed, to be honest, in the Serbian team. Watched them in that second qualifying round of the Champions League against Larn. They look pretty good. The new signing, Osman Bukhari, the right winger, really impressed me. But kind of, it was really, really bad in that third qualifying round against Hapoel Beersheva. They really, really didn't turn up for that game. Look pretty poor. Obviously, in the Serbian Super League, 3 games, 3 wins so far this season. But I think for them, this team especially was built to make it into the Champions League. They will be very, very disappointed. On the other side, Victoria Plzen, 4 games played so far in the Czech league. Finally, they won at the weekend, 2 draws and 1 loss before that. And I learned my lesson with the teams from Czech Republic. There's a reason why the Czech Republic league is ranked 10th now in the UEFA coefficient ranking. They are doing pretty good in Europe. They have the experience. I think Jablonec and Hradec Králové are going to be in the Conference League playoff round. Obviously, you got Slavia Prague in the Champions League league phase. Sparta Prague will be probably in the Conference League as well, or Europa League. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this game. You remember probably Vidra, the former Burnley striker from many years ago. He is now at Victoria Plzen. I think he's injured. He's not going to play in this game. One name to look for, Christophe Kabongo, the right winger who scored a goal in each of the last 3 games that they've played in the league. For them, for Victoria Plzen, this is the first qualifying round. They were straight into the playoff round of the Europa League. So, like I said, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Sint-Trude against Omonia Nicosia, the surprise package from last season from the Belgian league. At one point, at the beginning of the playoffs, you could have said that they are in the title race. In the end, they finish third. I don't know if they're going to be able to replicate the form that they had last season. The start in the league wasn't that great. 2 draws so far. 1-1 at home against Lommel, which is a newly promoted side, and then over the weekend a 3-3 draw away at Cercle Bruges, which is not Club Brugge, by the way. They do have 7 Japanese in the squad. This is amazing. The latest addition is Nelson Ishiwatari, who already has a goal and an assist in the league. Out of the 4 goals that he scored so far this season, he was involved in half of them. But the real player here, the one that I like, is Ilyas Ebaoui, the Moroccan guy, with 1 goal and 2 assists so far in the 2 games they played in the league. The other side, Omonia Nicosia, obviously they were the champions from Cyprus from last season. They started in the Champions League. They lost with Kairat Almaty on penalties. I remember it was a very, very close game. They won the first one at home 1-0, even though they play in 10 men for the majority of the game. And then they went to Almaty and took the game to penalties. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they got a red card in the second game as well. And then they eliminated in the third qualifying round of the Europa League Lincoln Red Imps from Gibraltar. They do have a problem of scoring goals, but they scored only 3 in the 3 games they played in Europe so far. The Cyprus League hasn't started yet, so the official games that they played so far this season are in Europe. On the other side, Sint-Trude, obviously they were put straight into the playoff round of the Europa League, so this is the first qualifying round basically for them. I'm gonna go for a 1-0 win for the home side here. Moving on, another game that if you'd have asked me a couple of months ago, I would have definitely said Universitatea Craiova, the Romanian champions, will win this one against Ararat Armenia. But after I seen Ararat Armenia in the Champions League and being so close actually to make it into the playoff round, I think I changed my mind a little bit. The Romanian champions, they started in the first qualifying round of the Champions League. They beat the champions from Belarus, Vitebsk. Then they were eliminated by Levski Sofia in the second qualifying round of the Champions League, and they get past the Kups from Finland, not without a scare in the third qualifying round of the Europa League. They are not in a very good form. Started the season pretty well. They won the Super Cup in Romania, but in the first 5 games of the season, 2 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses. I think they won over the weekend, even though they played with 10. No, they draw over the weekend, even though they played with 10 men away at Oțelul Galați. On the other side, like I said, really impressed with the team from Armenia. They were very, very close to making it to the playoff round of the Champions League. They lost away at Celje in Slovenia 2-0 after they won at home 2-1. It was a game in which there were multiple clearances off the line of both ends, some incredible misses. They started in the first qualifying round of the Champions League. They beat Riga FC, the champions from Latvia. Then they beat Shamrock Rovers in the second qualifying round, and like I said, they were eliminated by Celje in a very, very tight game. 3 games played so far in the Armenian League, 3 wins. I'm going to go for a narrow win for the Romanian side, 2-1. And finally, Trabzonspor, Ferencvaros. Like I said, with Beşiktaş, the first game of the season, last weekend for Trabzonspor as well in Superliga in Turkey. 1-1 away at Kasimpasa. Obviously, Mohamed Salah, the big signing that they did over the summer, came on as a substitute in the second half. Really made an impact on the game, taking corners. He had a shot that should have been a goal. It was deflected by a defender, and in the end they didn't even get a corner kick. For those of you who remember and love the Cape Verde story from the World Cup, they did sign Lopez Cabral from Benfica, the guy who scored that amazing goal in the round of 32 against Argentina, and went to celebrate with his girlfriend in the stands. But for me personally, I think a really important signing is Ruslan Malinovsky, which they got from Genoa. He had an amazing season in Serie A. Last season, 6 goals. He is really capable of some beautiful shots from long range. If there is a weakness in this Trabzonspor team, if you are a Manchester United supporter, you probably know what I'm talking about. Is Onana, the goalkeeper. He looks shaky. He did have some problems catching some balls, some crosses over the weekend. A beautiful goal actually by the right winger Noah Saviolo, the Portuguese, took his goal really nicely. On the other side, Ferencváros, they lost the title by a point, I think, in a league that they dominated in Hungary. They started in the first qualifying round of the Europa League, eliminating Vojvodina Novi Sad. Then it was that crazy tie against Twente, when Lenny Joseph, the Haitian striker, had an amazing 2 games, scoring 3 out of the 4 goals they scored in that tie. And then they beat Gornik Zabrze, again a very good team, in the third qualifying round of the Champions League, of the Europa League. Sorry. They finally won their first game in the Hungarian league over the weekend. They started with a loss and a draw, and like I said, finally winning over the weekend against Zalaegerszegi. The crazy stuff about Ferencváros is they played a friendly game between their Europa League tie, the 2 games against Gornik Zabrze. They did play a friendly against Real Madrid, which is crazy. I think probably was a pre-arrangement or something like that. Otherwise, I couldn't see this thing happening during the season. And like I said, Lenny Joseph, amazing form he showed during those 2 games against Twente, but ever since didn't score anything. I'm gonna go for a 1-0 win for the team from Turkey in this one. And this is it for this video. Until next time, I wish everybody the best. Bye bye.